Have you ever heard someone say, after 70, it's all downhill from here? Well, I'm here to tell you that's a lie. And not just a little white lie either, but one that's robbing countless seniors of the best years of their lives. Welcome to Forever Strong Seniors, where we're rewriting the story of aging, one powerful truth at a time. I'm so glad you're here with us today, because what I'm about to share might just change your perspective and your path from this point forward. Today's video carries a bold title. Only 5% of seniors can do these 5 things after 70. Improve longevity and health today. And it's not clickbait. These 5 things are backed by science, deeply practical, and surprisingly doable. In fact, they're already helping a small, powerful group of older adults not just survive, but thrive. So if you're 70, 75, or even 80 plus, and you've ever felt like your body is slowing down, your mind is fading, or your purpose is unclear, stay with me. Because by the end of this video, you'll not only know what these 5 life-changing abilities are, you'll be inspired to reclaim them, one step at a time. Let's dive into the first sign of strength, resilience, and real vitality. The one most people never even think to check until it's too late. Let me tell you about Mr. Alan Green. He's 73 years old and lives just outside of Eugene, Oregon. Now, Alan's not a former athlete or some health fanatic. He spent most of his adult life working at a small local bank, sitting behind a desk for 40-plus hours a week. But Alan has something rare for his age. He can sit down on the floor and get back up without help. Sounds simple, right? Until you try it. The truth is, only about 5% of seniors over 70 can still do this basic movement. And it's not just a party trick. It's a reflection of something much deeper: balance, leg strength, core stability, and flexibility all working together in harmony. Getting up from the floor is a full-body symphony. And when one section falls out of tune, maybe it's the knees, or the hips, or the lower back, suddenly that simple act becomes nearly impossible. Alan told me, "It's not that I trained to do this. I just never stopped doing it." That right there is the key. See, the body doesn't forget unless we stop reminding it. The moment we avoid the floor is the moment we start surrendering a little more independence. And when you lose that independence, it's like watching the horizon of your life shrink a little bit more each year. But here's the empowering part. You can get it back. Whether you're 60, 70, or 85, your muscles and balance can be retrained. You don't need a gym membership or a physical therapist to begin. Start on a soft mat or carpet. Sit down slowly. Then try to rise back up, using as little help as possible. If it's tough, good. That means it's worth doing. Do it again tomorrow, and again next week. The goal isn't perfection, it's progress. Because every time you sit down and stand up under your own power, you're sending a powerful message to your body and your brain. I'm still here. I'm still strong. I still own my life. Now, let's shift gears and talk about something you might be doing every single week without realizing it's one of the greatest hidden indicators of your health: carrying groceries. Let's meet Lillian Myers. She's 76, a retired music teacher from North Carolina. Every Wednesday, she walks to her local market with the reusable tote, loads it with her fruits, veggies, and whatever else she needs, and walks back home. It's not a long trip, maybe 20 minutes round trip. But here's the key. She carries the bag herself. No cart, no delivery service. Just her and the bag. Carrying a grocery bag might seem like a small task, but it's actually a massive indicator of your functional strength. Your grip, your shoulders, your back, your core, your posture, all of it comes into play. And studies now show that declining grip strength is linked to a much higher risk of heart disease, memory issues, and even early mortality. It's not about becoming a bodybuilder. It's about being able to open a jar without asking for help, to lift your grandchild, to carry a laundry basket or a box of books. Independence lives in these little everyday acts. And grip strength is like the thread that holds it all together. So what can you do if your hands feel weak? Or if the bag you used to carry now feels too heavy? First, don't ignore it. Start simple. Squeeze a stress ball while watching TV. Use light resistance bands to stretch your arms and wrists. Even just carrying a small hand weight around the house can begin to wake those muscles up again. And don't forget, the act of carrying is more than just strength. It's balance, posture, and tension. It's saying, I can still do this on my own. And every time you do, your confidence grows a little more. You don't have to settle for feeling fragile. You can build your power back, starting with something as humble as your groceries. In the next part, we'll look at something many of us quietly begin avoiding: stairs. They're everywhere, and yet they tell us more about our heart and muscles than we often realize. If going up a flight has started to feel harder or scarier, you'll want to hear what's coming next. So stay with me. This journey isn't just about testing yourself. It's about transforming yourself, one small challenge at a time. So now that we've talked about getting up off the floor and the quiet strength of carrying your own groceries, let's move to something else that many people over 70 begin to avoid without even realizing it: stairs. You know, it's strange. We grow up racing upstairs without a second thought, but somewhere along the way, they start to feel steeper. Maybe your knees ache. Maybe your breath shortens halfway up. Or maybe there's just a whisper of fear that says, what if I fall? And so, little by little, you start choosing the elevator instead, telling yourself it's no big deal. Just a few steps, right? But here's what most people don't realize. Your relationship with stairs might just be telling you more about your overall health than your last doctor's visit. Let me tell you about Howard Kim. He's 78, a retired bus mechanic from Sacramento. Now Howard's no stranger to hard work. He spent decades on his feet. But after retirement, his activity levels dropped. He noticed that just walking up to his second floor started leaving him winded. His legs felt heavy. He'd reach the top and need to sit down. At first, he laughed it off. Then he started taking the elevator in public. And soon, he was avoiding stairs altogether. But the thing is, Howard didn't stop climbing stairs because he was old. He stopped because his body was sending a signal. We need some attention here. Your ability to go up a flight of stairs without stopping isn't just about strong legs. It's a real-time snapshot of your cardiovascular health, your lung capacity, and your muscle endurance. When stairs start to feel impossible, it's often your heart and lungs gently waving a red flag. And yet, just like the floor test or grip strength, this too is reversible. Howard didn't accept his decline. He made a choice. He started small, just 5 steps at a time, once a day. He practiced sit-to-stands from a chair. He walked more, stood more, breathed deeper. And within a few months, he didn't just climb stairs. He chased his granddaughter up them. What I love most about that story is the reminder that movement isn't just physical, it's emotional. When you avoid stairs, you often start avoiding effort altogether. One floor becomes your limit. Your world gets smaller. And that's heartbreaking. But when you reclaim your ability to climb, you reclaim your sense of momentum. You remind yourself that life is still rising, and so are you. And speaking of momentum, let's talk about something that many fear even more than physical decline: the mind. For so many older adults, there comes a moment when you forget a name, misplace your keys, or walk into a room and wonder why you're there. And suddenly, there's that question no one wants to ask out loud. Is my memory slipping? It's scary, isn't it? Because memory feels like our last true connection to ourselves, to our past, our identity, our stories. But here's something no one tells you. Memory isn't something you lose with age. It's something you lose with disuse. Let me introduce you to Margaret Ellis. Margaret is 81 and sharp as a tack. She does the New York Times crossword every morning. She teaches piano to neighborhood kids. She's learning Spanish just for fun. And you'd never guess that 10 years ago, she was struggling to remember her own grocery list. When I asked her what changed, she said something I'll never forget. I stopped accepting the fog as normal. Margaret knew she had to keep her mind moving. So she did. Not with pressure or fear, but with curiosity. The truth is, your brain is like a muscle. And when you stop challenging it, stop learning, stop solving, stop conversing, it gets lazy. Not broken, just bored. One of the easiest ways to check your memory fitness is this. Try remembering 5 unrelated words. Wait a few minutes, then recall them. If that's hard, don't panic. It just means your mind needs to stretch again. It's never too late to learn a new word. Play a simple memory game. or read something that pushes your thinking. You don't need to return to school or write a novel, but you do need to stay curious. Ask questions, read articles, have deep conversations, listen to music, and really pay attention to the lyrics. Talk to someone younger, talk to someone older. Each of these moments wakes up parts of your brain that may have been quietly dozing off. And here's a beautiful connection. Physical movement also sharpens the mind. When you take a walk, especially in nature, your heart pumps more oxygen to your brain. That clarity you feel after a stroll, that's your brain saying thank you. You see, the sharpest minds in their 70s and 80s aren't just gifted. They're engaged. They treat their thoughts like treasures worth polishing. And so can you. So if you've ever found yourself fumbling for a word or second-guessing your recall, don't see it as decline. See it as an invitation to reconnect with your brain. It's still there, still waiting, still capable of brilliance. And as we move into the final part of this video, we'll explore the most powerful force of all, the one thing that ties everything together: purpose. It's not just about your body or your memory. It's about waking up each day with a reason to live fully. And that, my friend, might be the most important strength of all. So now, we've talked about strength, balance, stamina, and memory. But there's something deeper underneath it all. Something that drives every movement, every decision, every spark of energy. And that is purpose. I want you to take a breath and ask yourself, what gets you out of bed in the morning? For many people over 70, that question becomes harder to answer. The kids are grown. The career is behind you. Some friends have passed on. Routines change, and sometimes the world feels like it's moving on without you. It's quiet, too quiet. And when that stillness settles in, so does a kind of invisible weight. Not sadness exactly, more like a slow fading of meaning. But here's the truth that too few people say out loud. Purpose is not just for the young. It's not something you outgrow or retire from. In fact, having a clear sense of purpose in your 70s, 80s, and beyond can be more important than at any other stage in life. Why? Because purpose gives your energy somewhere to go. It turns every small task, watering a plant, writing a note, mentoring someone younger, into something meaningful. Let me introduce you to Carmen Rodriguez. She's 84 and lives in New Mexico. A widow for 10 years now. Her days could be quiet if she let them. But instead, every Friday morning, she volunteers at the community library. She helps young children pick out their books. She reads to them, shows them how to use the checkout scanner, and gives them stickers when they finish a story. She laughs, they laugh. It's simple. And yet Carmen says, it's the reason I still feel alive. And that's what purpose does. It keeps us alive from the inside out. Studies have shown that seniors who have a strong sense of purpose live longer, stay mentally sharper, and report significantly higher levels of happiness and health. It's not magic. It's momentum. It's the human spirit needing a why to power the how. The beautiful part? Purpose doesn't need to be grand or public or impressive. Maybe you tend to a small garden because it reminds you that life keeps blooming. Maybe you write poems and leave them tucked inside your grandchildren's books. Maybe you make soup for a neighbor or call an old friend every Sunday just to check in. Whatever it is, it matters. Because you matter. Sometimes people think, but I'm not useful anymore. And my heart aches every time I hear that. Because usefulness is not something that disappears with age. It simply evolves. You don't have to produce or earn or fix to be valuable. Your wisdom, your experience, your presence, they're more needed than ever. Especially in this world that moves so fast and forgets so easily. Think about all the things you've already overcome in your life. The changes, the losses, the learning. You have knowledge and resilience that younger generations can only dream of. So what if your purpose now is to share it? Not as advice, but as story, as connection, as being the calm in someone else's storm. I know a man named Dennis Cho, age 79, who spends his afternoons writing letters. Real letters. Pen and paper. He sends them to people he used to work with, old friends from high school, even former neighbors he hasn't seen in years. He told me, there's something healing about letting people know they were remembered. That's his purpose. Not flashy, not fancy, but powerful. And that's the key. You don't need the world's permission to matter. You just need to believe, deep down, that your time still has weight, that your voice still echoes, that your kindness still changes lives. If you're sitting there wondering, but I don't know what my purpose is anymore, don't worry. The question itself is a beautiful place to begin. Ask yourself, what do I love that I've forgotten? Or, who needs something I still have to give? Or even, what did I used to dream of before life got busy? Sometimes the answers come softly. Sometimes they surprise you. But they come. And when they do, everything else, your energy, your attitude, even your health, begins to rise with them. This chapter of your life is not an afterthought. It's not a winding down. It's a distillation, a refining, a powerful reminder of what truly matters. So yes, the floor test matters. Carrying your groceries matters. Climbing stairs and remembering names and staying sharp, those all matter. But purpose? Purpose is the fuel behind it all. It's the reason we bother to try, to stretch, to push forward even when things feel slow or hard. It's the thing that whispers, get up. Someone out there still needs what only you can give. In our final part coming up next, we're going to bring everything together. We'll revisit the 5 vital signs of thriving after 70 and show you how small daily actions can lead to lasting transformation. Because this is more than just a list, it's a lifestyle. And the best part, you can start right where you are. So don't go anywhere. Your strongest years might just be the ones ahead. So here we are, at the final part of our journey together today. And I want to take a moment to say something simple, but important. Thank you. Thank you for staying. Thank you for listening. And most of all, thank you for being willing to believe that life after 70 can be more than what the world often says it is. Let's step back for a moment and look at where we've been. We've talked about getting up off the floor, how that single motion is a quiet test of strength, balance, and self-reliance. We've looked at the humble act of carrying groceries, and how it says more about your health than any blood test. We've walked upstairs together, remembering that each step is a small celebration of stamina and heart power. We've stretched our minds with memory challenges, not to fear forgetfulness, but to reignite curiosity. And finally, we've dug deep into the invisible but undeniable power of purpose, and how it fuels every other part of who we are. You see, these 5 things aren't random skills or isolated habits. They're part of a greater picture. They're clues. Clues that tell us who's still thriving, who's still moving forward, who's still reaching, no matter the age on their birth certificate. But here's the truth I hope you carry with you long after this video ends. This isn't about being one of the lucky 5%. This is about choosing to become one of them. Not because it's easy, but because it's possible. Starting today, let me tell you one last story about a woman named Dorothy Lynn. She's 87 and lives in a small apartment in Milwaukee. She doesn't drive anymore. Her eyesight isn't perfect, and her knees don't let her walk long distances like she used to. But every morning, she wakes up, puts on her favorite cardigan, makes a warm cup of tea, and does 5 things. First, she gets up and down off the floor just once, slowly, carefully. Then, she picks up 2 cans of soup from her pantry and carries them across her kitchen while keeping her back straight. She walks up and down her one little porch step 3 or 4 times, holding the railing if she needs it. She closes her eyes, thinks of 5 random things she saw the day before. A squirrel, a red car, a neighbor's laugh, the smell of cinnamon, a puzzle she started, and says them out loud. And finally, she writes 1 sentence in her notebook, finishing the prompt. Today I still matter because. That's it. No fancy gym, no complicated equipment, no app or subscription. Just 5 little things that remind her she's still here, still capable, still living, not just existing. Dorothy might not appear in any medical journals, but in my book, she's one of the strongest people I've ever met. And so are you. Because no matter what your body feels like today, no matter what aches or worries have crept in with the years, your story isn't over. There's still so much strength to gain, joy to feel, and wisdom to share. So what now? Start small. Pick 1 thing from today's video and do it tomorrow. Sit and rise once. Carry something with a little intention. Climb just a few steps. Read something new. Or simply ask yourself, what gives your day meaning? Write it down. Say it out loud. Share it with someone. Because here's the truth. You don't need to be 25 to feel powerful. You don't need to run marathons to be healthy. And you don't need to live without fear to live with courage. You just need to take that first, quiet, persistent step, and then another. That's how you join the 5%. Not all at once, but choice by choice, day by day. And maybe one day, someone will look at you, not for what you can lift or remember or do, but for how fully you chose to live. And they'll think, I want to be like that when I'm older. So now, I want to hear from you. In the comments below, tell me, which of these 5 things speaks to you the most right now? Is it strength, balance, memory, purpose, or something else entirely? Your voice matters, and your story could be the encouragement someone else needs today. And if this video resonated with you, I invite you, I encourage you, to check out the rest of our channel, Forever Strong Seniors. Every week, we bring new stories, tools, and uplifting truths to help you thrive, not just survive, in the years ahead. Because the truth is, you are far more capable than you think. And the best is still possible. Until next time, take care of your body, challenge your mind, and live with heart. We'll be right here walking this path with you.